round 4. I am Michael Perry, and I am pleased to be joined by National Master OK. Our
Nice.
player profile for this week is Kevin Landman. He has a peak rating of 1833. His best wins include Matt Dahl, who is a master and a player who's, I don't know his peak rating, but I want to say he's been in the 2300s. Jay Carr, Alan Cantor, the legendary Dan Vojay, Vincent Rancor, Serafima Sokoslovakia, who played in our last month Thursday nighter, and Reed Russell. He was the winner of the October Thursday nighter open section, and he's the winner of 3 Thursday night tournaments this year. And he's also currently in first place for the year for the open section win count. So he's kind of dominating the open section. So we'll see if eventually he can get his rating high enough, and he wants to play in the top section. I'm sure he'd be a good fit. Um, a couple quick announcements here just via the tournaments. This Saturday at the castle, we have I believe it's called the Turtle. It's called the Turtle Tornado this Saturday. It's 4 rounds of game 30 plus 30. First round, as always, starts at 10 a.m. and the last round is at 6. The TD for that is Dan Bojay. But you can look all of that on the Castle website. And then the next week is the really big tournament. It's the legendary Northern Open that we've been having each year here, and it's back at the Roseville Skating Center. So I personally like that venue. There's not much seating room, but it's kind of just a classic venue that I have good memories at. But you should definitely check that out. We have the state champion Sam Rugg registered for that, and we have close to 100 people already for that. So make sure to check out the Northern Open. And I think that about does it for tournament announcements, and I'll send it over to OK for Kevin's game.
All right. So we'll start with Kevin's game. Excuse me. He's playing black, um, and the game starts off with an invitation to a King's Indian, and Mr. Foot is going for a fianchetto approach himself. Okay, so now with D6, we're pretty much um, more in King's Indian territory than Grunfeld. So, okay, that's an interesting approach of the double fianchetto. And now we've got what looks like a normal type position. Um, and now Kevin changes his mind and goes for a setup based on D5. So A4 seems a little bit weakening, but maybe it's not too much of a bother. Um, it appears, combined with B4, it makes sense because now White has a bit of an initiative on the queen side, and it's strange. Black is the person with the pawn in the center, but White's central control seems better, and his pieces just seem a bit more active. So it seems like it's going to be a bit of a challenge for Kevin, but we'll see how this goes. So after a5, there's a threat of bishop b6, skewering the queen and rook um, here. And so Kevin runs with his queen, and b5 is played. So Mr. Foot is, I guess, um, putting his foot into the door here, trying to get some strong play on the queen side. And here, so we have an interesting position. It seems like but it looks like white is going to get a decent pressure in this. It has already gotten decent pressure in this position, and Kevin already has to be a bit careful. So let's see. We'll come back to that a bit later. Let's take a look at some of the games that have completed. And let's see, maybe we'll go with let's go with Jordan Tim versus Eddie Wasserman. All right. No extra points for guessing Jordan's first three moves here. And the A6 approach. Ah, so it has some shades of widower type position here. And as usual, Jordan's playing pretty quickly. I'm not exactly sure of the theory here, but I do know that knight e2, in order to prevent doubling on c3, would be a big mistake after this, and the bishop is trapped. So Jordan plays king d2, and I suppose that was the only way to avoid losing a pawn in that position. So that makes sense from that point of view. Oh, this is getting really spicy. I wonder. Okay, so that's interesting. I wonder if e4 might have made sense, although that seems like it could get really dangerous after this. And then maybe the king has to go to one side or the other. Maybe
Yeah,
they
probably.
go,
Yeah, I feel like you
yeah,
have to go to d8.
yeah, probably d8. And it's an unclear position, and maybe one that Jordan might be happy to play just because it's complicated.
Yeah. I like it for
And
black though. I wouldn't
I
mind this
prefer it for
personally.
black.
Yeah, I
Yeah, I
wouldn't
prefer it for
mind this
black
at all.
because the rook's coming to e8, and then and let's not forget that White's king is still stuck in the center. So let's see. So d4 was played instead, and to me it seems as if that. Oh, let's see.
Yeah,
That
we
was
should
the
probably try to figure out why he didn't take with the pawn.
yeah. Um, not exactly sure why he didn't take with the pawn there. Um, Usually these kind of complicated positions, I assume that I'm not seeing it because my tactics are just not that strong. But I can't really see what the problem with pawn takes.
Yeah, I don't either. It looks like it wins a piece. You know, you always have to look at a3 stuff, but I mean, taking the knight comes with check.
Exactly. And then bishop c5 is a bailout. And actually the pawn's pinned against the rook, so he has time to skedaddle. So say something like this happens, you capture here. Say even if white were just to run away with the king somewhere, maybe I don't know, here, less exposed, you just go here, and it seems like it's all over. So yeah,
Yeah, this, I
wondering
mean, we
what.
have both of them in the chat, but they haven't said anything yet, so maybe we're
Oh,
right.
okay.
Otherwise, they
Yeah.
might say, "Hey, no, what are you guys talking about? Of course he can't do that." But so yeah, maybe it was missed. I don't know.
Okay. That makes sense. Yeah, knight d4 just seems maybe maybe Eddie was concerned about his king having to sit on d8 for a couple of moves. That's a possibility.
Maybe
And so
yeah.
didn't want to open the e file. Um, oh, actually, maybe that's something we missed. So after this, he can do this. Um, and then
Oh, duh! I
maybe,
didn't see the rook check. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, he can do that. And now if king comes here, maybe there's
Oh, hmm.
let's see.
I still don't get it actually, because queen takes f7, but then we just take
Yeah,
on c3. It's kind of like what do they call it? A paper tiger. Like this still,
yeah.
it looks a little bad, but I think black still might be fine.
I mean, it's very messy, but otherwise, yes, I don't see. Yeah, I don't see anything for. Yeah, I don't know. All right, well, let's see how the game was played. So knight takes d4, queen e4, queen c5, and so now it seems as if white has an initiative without having to pay for it in any way. I mean, in any meaningful way. Bug is not looking terribly nice.
Well,
Yeah.
hmm, that move, that move just surprised me. I thought he'd just
Oh,
play I thought he'd just play knight f3. So when I saw rook h4, I'm like, oh, well,
yeah, I guess he wants to.
provoke.
Um, yeah, I mean, you can always play knight f3 next move, but he wants to see how Eddie's going to respond to rook h4 first. Oh, well, that's an active king if I ever seen one.
Hmm.
And now that's an active knight. And
Oh
now
no.
that Jordan's gotten his pieces to start dancing, yeah,
Not yeah, this is just over now. You can't take on
these
d4.
guys, this
Yeah.
box here isn't helping this guy over here. This is pretty much over now, it seems. So it'll be kind of fun to see how, well, I guess fun for us, probably not fun for Eddie, to see how he finished the game. Huh. Okay, got it. Bishop e5 is coming. Oh, this is kind of sweet. And all of a sudden, it's checkmate in two. Well, three, I suppose, technically. One, so f6. Try and defend like the old computers used to do, and play every move out. And here. So, huh? Yeah. How do you characterize this game? This was. It seemed like Eddie somehow managed to get a good position, but then I think lost his nerve because um this e5 idea is very ambitious. So you'd think
Yeah,
maybe going into it. Yeah.
I did a little bit of digging. Well, first of all, Jordan said in the chat, isn't e takes d4 dead lost? And then Eddie said, King d8 wasn't a legal move to me this game for some reason at all. So, and then
Ah,
So Jordan just thought it was lost, and Eddie. It sounds like Eddie kind of regrets not playing it, maybe. But I did
Okay.
put it into the computer, and it actually isn't as good. It's not losing. The computer says after e takes d4, it's minus 0.5, so very slightly better for Eddie. But he
Hmm.
actually did play the best move in knight takes d4. But the
Oh,
question is why? So let's see. E takes d4. Computer suggests rook e1, of course. King d8. We looked at this. Okay, yeah, this is engine nonsense. Knight g e2.
so we're looking at this, and then rook e1, right?
Yep,
And then king d8, and then knight g e2,
yep. This is just engine nonsense.
and then bc3, dc3.
Computer actually likes queen takes on my engine likes queen takes c5, but
Okay, yep, yeah, that makes some sense.
how is
But
this not like?
how's this not winning is a question, right?
I mean,
Um, yeah,
like
this is
after queen takes c5, it's only minus 0.5.
well, I suppose maybe the king is in such a bad position that he thinks.
I guess it just doesn't look that way. Hmm.
No, it doesn't. I'm not terribly impressed with White's chances.
Well, apparently
But then
both
I'm not
players
making
made
it.
the right decision in the game, or at least the right mental decision.
Hmm. So knight takes. So what's his? So at this point, black is slightly better, according to the engine. You said.
Yeah, let me check here. You're saying kind of after the game and knight takes d4?
Hmm.
Knight takes d4 and then queen e5. Yeah, it's minus 3.
-3 here.
Yep.
Wait, after in this position with the queen on c5, this is now -3.
Oh, no, 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 not with the queen on c5. After knight takes d4, queen e4, it was minus 3. After queen takes c5, that was an inaccurate move by Eddie. After queen takes
Oh,
e5, it's equal.
so what does it want to play? F5 or 0
No,
0
just
maybe?
just bring the knight back and protect e5.
Okay, interesting. And then castle as a normal. Well, I guess you can't castle yet, or maybe you don't want to castle. Period. With the the queen and bishop battery, but I suppose knight c5 is happening next, and then knight 10 can take on d3, and so that battery disappears, and then you can castle,
This is
right?
very
So,
instructive, and this is like some. I mean, I consider this top level because, I mean, it's not intuitive at all. We both missed it. I mean, the players definitely navigated it well because both of them thought, it was just weaker than the game. But yeah, that was very interesting because to my eye, it just looked like takes d4 was winning.
yeah, no, this is a good learning moment. Um, I have tried to implement into my chess the concept that you shouldn't start playing the middle game before you'd finish the opening. And interestingly, knight retreating to c6 follows along that path. Of course, there are also concrete practical reasons because of the pawn um, hanging on c5 and knight c5 being a threat, which makes it easier to make the decision. But still, I can see myself just, well, it's there. I'm going to go for the piece, and I'll deal with my king safety later, and then start complaining about how my king got made in the middle of the board due to some random tactic. When strategically, I'm just setting myself up for problems, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's good. Well, let's see. Let's go over to Robert versus Kyle Weatherly. And Robert won this one. So let's see what kind of mischief was created. So, oh, well, okay. What what should I expect, right? The wing gambit. So that's not. I think B6 is okay, but I think the challenging approach is probably taking the pawn and then playing d5, I believe. You're a Sicilian guy, right?
I don't actually play the Sicilian, but yeah, my instinct just tells me that this isn't quite right for black because you're basically just saying, I'm giving you back your odd move, and you can just start the game over. We exchanged B pawns, and now you can just play knight f3 and start over.
Yeah, yeah, this seems compliant, I think is the word.
Whoa.
Huh? What is that?
Oh, he wants queen f3 with a double attack.
But the knight's
What
gonna
if
be
not?
kept on e5.
Yeah, what if the knight takes?
Yeah, which is what happens. Okay, so I guess we get to see. Oh, yikes. Ruh-roh.
Oh boy.
Oh, Robert, that's nice. And meanwhile, any other way of dealing with that, e5. Um, so yeah, so okay, now I get it.
And that's why
So
you
he was
don't that's why
exchange.
you don't play b6, because now the b file's open.
Yes, yes. So that was a nice idea from Robert. Let's see how he gets the job done. Wow, it's bold. Um, so Robert has almost got everything into play, just needs to find a way to get his rook on h1 into the game. And Kyle is trying to create some play. Um, Still very difficult though. So it's down exchange, and it's hard to see. His main compensation is Robert's exposed king. But it's not clear if he's going to be able to get to it. And now the king will be exposed no more. Well, it's still exposed, but he'll be able to crawl back into the crevice on g1. Okay, that's a bit loosening it, I guess. But I suppose he's going to have to move one of those pawns, because if he moves the knight away, then he has to be concerned about a bishop h4 and then g3, and now the f pawn's a bit weak. But maybe, I guess it's a matter of his technique and what he feels comfortable with. Uh-oh. Nice. Yeah, pieces do go backwards. See, this is not. Um, I think I take a more accountant type approach now than Robert does here, but it's tactically sound. The rook on f3 can't be taken because of 96. So if he tries to get some material back, he loses more material.
Actually,
Actually,
yeah,
maybe it's
there's
even better to just mate him. So the ultimate material loss. So actually, at this point, um, yeah, how is he going to even defend against the checkmate? I guess he can play queen c4. Yeah, that's legal. Whoa, what's that about? Interesting. So is this one of Robert's new idiosyncrasies? I mean, could he have done the same thing?
Yeah, he just wanted the style points.
Okay, all right.
He's
Because
been
I think
watching
somebody,
too much Levy and
yeah,
sacrificing the rook.
somebody, I think last weekend somebody might have mentioned that Robert was on a new kick of sacrificing a rook every game or something. So I don't know if this is consistent with that new approach, but but yeah, the game was essentially decided in the opening. I think Kyle will want to take time to find a better defensive method against b4. By playing b6, um, I think it just allows white more than they deserve, and it's not the time spent studying the wing gambit won't be wasted. I don't think, because there are quite a few lessons in how to deal with these sort of gambits, and the strong uh, master Tim Rademacher has made this his main line against the Sicilian. So if in some future tournament you find yourself against him, you want to be brushed up on your wing gambit theory. All right. Well, let's
I
see.
didn't know that. That's good to know though. So if I ever start playing a Sicilian, Tim plays b4.
Yes, yes. He's had some good victories. He's also had some crushing defeats. I think um, Dane Zagar had a really beautiful game against him during team league some years ago. In that line when Dane was going through his Sicilian phase.
Hmm.
So let's see. Let's go to Connor, um, the other Weatherly, versus Kyler Weatherspoon, and see what we have here. So we have got a French Tarrasch with c5 and Queen d5, which I think um, gives more chances to win maybe for black than the old e takes d5. And so far, so normal. Okay, so um, Kyler's playing in the really um, sharp, this is the sharper way of playing this position in a way. Um,
I've had this exact, well, okay, not anymore, but I've had this pretty much the exact position many, many times, but with the queen on d7. That's what I
yes,
always played.
yes, there's a queen. So little bit of history here. Uh, the queen d6 with a6. Um, actually, let's go here. So after here, okay. So after here, so queen d6 is one line. Queen d7, I think at some point became a major choice, and I think Sammy used to play that way. Queen d6 was Queen d6 with a6 was popular in the 90s and into the early 2000s. And then later on, people started playing more Queen d7 because it was considered a bit safer, and there were other tactical issues like you can get your bishop out to a more active square immediately. I remember I had done some study on this line from the black point of view, and was feeling proud of myself because I never used to really do deep study on openings back then. But I said, okay, yes, this one I've got, right? And I remember the featured game was the illustrative game involved Mickey Adams, who was a great killer on the white side of the French Tarrasch, and he was playing against, maybe it was uh, Mirosevic. Anyhow, doesn't matter who the players are. What was important was, so here I am, all prepared, and I guess revealing my dinosaur status. I hopped on to ICC, and um, and what do you know? 2 or 3 games in, or Blitz games, somebody plays this against me on the white side, and it was depressing because I spat out all the theory I knew. They spat out all the theory they knew, and it ended up in this crazy draw. And I was thinking, I'm never playing this thing again. If all I can get is a draw, and I have to remember all of these moves up to, I think it was like move 20 something. Nah, I'm done with this. And I went back to playing Knight F6 on move 3 for the next number of years. But yeah, the small. So Kyler going into this to me suggests a decent amount of confidence in his knowledge here. And fortunately, I don't know that Connor is. I don't think because at the end of the day, it's usually White who gets to choose how sharp this position becomes, and Connor is playing more. Okay, I'm gonna normally get my pieces in and all that,
Yeah.
and so it seems like Kyler's gotten a decent position out of this actually.
Hmm.
All his pieces are developed. Yes, it looks like they're a bit cramped, but he doesn't have any readily exploitable weakness at the moment. And um, White, I guess, can look at B7 as a small, as a bit of a target. Um, Maybe try to get some other piece into the game, but it seems like White's just hitting his head against something right now. Okay. Oh, what?
Yeah, that has to be a GGT board error. Or the most genius move no one ever saw coming.
And and he spent Connor spent 40 minutes on this. So I'm wondering if they agreed to draw because it says Connor's time has run out, and it went from 40 minutes to 0.
Oh, man.
So I'm not sure what happened. Maybe Nate will update the boards later, and we'll have a better idea of what's going on here. All right, let's hop over to Nate, who probably can't help us right now because he is down on time against National Master Thomas Babcock. So,
And he is simuling again. He's also playing Shrijan. And
oh,
he has 4 minutes in that game. And he has 4 minutes in this game.
okay. This is not the most diplomatic thing, but with the time situation, Tom and Tom and Srijan need to punish Nate for this simul. There's no excuses now, unless the positions are that bad. Let's take a look. We'll look at the first one here.
I mean,
And
this is a rated event. They need to team up. I'm not implying anything despicable, but they need to in the most basic sense of the word team up. They need to play quickly enough where they're maximizing both of their potentials to overcome the mighty Nate.
yes. Now, this C5 line is complicated, and I think I've seen Nate play this before. So okay, he probably won't be punished time wise, although the position tends to get really complicated, and so when you're playing a simul, I'm not sure if this is what you want to be dealing with, especially against a fellow master. Now, are these FIDE ratings they put next to their names?
Yes.
Okay, I should know that by now, shouldn't I? Um, so Yeah, I was anticipating that. Okay, and black is simply better.
Oh yeah,
White
Thomas is
is,
playing a really nice game.
yeah. White is just, sorry, black is just simply better. Um,
But it's yeah, he'll still have a ways to go to win.
yes, you have a ways to go to win, but he's a pawn up. Black's pieces are actually all well placed, except for the rook on a8, which okay, the rook on a8 um, isn't needed at the moment. There's only one half open file. White's king is exposed. Yeah, this is looking ugly.
Yeah. I don't like Black's last move, rook AE8. I prefer to double the rooks on the F file. I don't really know what future your rook has on E8.
On a file that you don't want to open. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
unless he's looking at playing rook AE8, rook E7, rook F7, but that's just not efficient.
Yeah, it's just a
I
move
think,
slower.
yeah, and it might be that he was just playing a routine move, maybe to keep um, Nate on his toes, wondering, well, what's about this? What's with this mysterious rook move, as Nizovic would refer to these sort of things? Because yeah, it seems as if he then proceeds to try and double the rooks the very next. So yeah, so now he's putting pressure on the f3 pawn. Yeah, this is just a really nasty position for white. I mean, it's not there's no like forced loss right here, but um, he'll have to hope Thomas makes some mistake in Nate's time trouble.
Yeah, and
All right, let's go.
the good news for Nate is that the position is closed. And
Mhm.
since it's so close, it kind of diminishes Black's attack, excuse
Yes,
me, and it also just makes his bishop on G7 kind of laughable.
yes. That is an important point. That bishop is not the best piece on the board right now. Um, although I suppose maybe he's trying to change that situation. With knight
Yeah, that's a good move.
d4, yeah. Now he has to be concerned because d6 is now hanging. Or he doesn't have to be concerned, but it's something he has to keep in mind that d6 is hanging. Um,
True.
and so
Oh, maybe his point is if bishop takes D4, takes D4, takes D6, takes D6, knight D6, there's bishop E5, and you're threatening the knight and mate.
uh hmm. So let me put that on the board. So bishop takes, pawn takes, pawn takes.
Hmm.
Maybe we play here immediately.
Well,
Rather
then,
than let the knight. Yeah.
well, yeah, well, but then we can play knight G3. Well, I guess he's threatening mate after queen H3. Hmm. And then queen C2 maybe. Hmm. Yeah, this also works. This must be his plan. So yeah, no, this is getting better for Thomas. I think either way works.
Yeah. Okay. So well, let's see. Let's go to the live game and see where we are. So Nate is pondering his options here. So let's take a look at the two buddies playing against each other. Jason Wagner versus UV, Shemesh, and got a Slav, and UV goes into the semi-Slav with A3, which I suppose is one way of avoiding the Miran. Hmm.
And these guys are good friends, so they probably know each other's openings.
Yes. Now we've got what appears to be not the best version of a Geller Gambit for white. So a normal Geller Gambit would be and here, and so it's as if white then decides to play A3. And now we've transposed into the game, and I mean white still has um, his chances, but I think this is not the strongest way to play the Geller from White's standpoint. It's a bit slow and allows Black to consolidate. So yeah, UV's got everything he wants out of the opening here, and White doesn't have much to show for the sacrificed pawn. Interesting choice. So this was possible too, but I guess the downside of capturing this way is you've given up your chance at putting pressure on the base of White's pawn chain. So UV goes with E takes D5, and that is one of the downsides of capturing E takes D5 is now F5 is a bit weak. Whoa. What's going on here?
Want to get like a 3 pawns for a piece situation.
Wow. Was that
Wait,
necessary?
wait. Yeah, in that, wait, isn't there just queen? Oh wait, no, maybe the knight's. Never mind. Huh.
So it wasn't necessary, but it's enterprising. This idea. I was thinking maybe he could just get away with G6. Uh, but he goes for this, and okay. So it's looking interesting. And now he has this pawn armada coming down the queen side, which means that White has to make progress real quick before he gets smothered on that side of the board.
Yeah, I actually like this a lot for black. White can't
Yeah,
do much. He can only react to black's pawn storm.
yeah. Black is definitely the driver's seat here. Oh, so I suppose um, UV's judgment was correct with that piece sack, at least based on the position so far. And so this is where they are right now. UV seems to have a better position on the board, but his clock situation is not admirable.
And that's a good move. Well, at least it looks like a good move. He couldn't have moved any of his pawns in that position because if he had
Yes.
played b4, then there's bishop takes d3, which takes advantage of a pin. And if he
Yeah.
played c3, that obviously just blunders the d3 pawn in a more obvious manner. And if he played d2, um, well, d2 is, yeah, I guess you can't take right off the bat because the queen's overloaded. But yeah, you can just play rook c2.
Which is actually a bit troublesome. Because maybe black is getting his pawns forward after all.
True. Yeah, maybe this would have been interesting for black. He chose queen
Okay.
d4, which also makes sense.
Yeah, because he wants to play. He wants. I guess I'm thinking he wants to play b4, c3 next. Maybe. Well, first of all, there's the threat to the bishop's life on e4, so he has to figure out what he's doing with that. And rook e1 isn't working because of this fork. And if the bishop moves away, then he can um, exchange queens, removing white's ability for counterplay, and still keep his three connected pass pawns and expose white's king a little bit. So, yeah, this it seems like UV is rolling. All right, let's take a look. Oh, wow. Jacob seems to be in significant time trouble here against Jeremy Kyler. Let's see how we got there. I'll kind of go quickly. So, okay, Grunfeld, Bishop f4 approach, which for a while was, I think he played Bishop f4 immediately, or maybe he did it only after Knight f3. Koprov used to play this for white back in the day. This is an
Sorry, who was that?
interesting, huh?
Who was that you said?
Karpov
Oh,
used to play Bishop f4 connected lines against. I remember one of the. I think it was the. Might have been the 1986 match against Kasparov. Uh, yeah, I think it might have been the 86 match against Kasparov where he started playing. But I think he played Knight f3 and then Bishop f4 in his move order, and then it'd go into some endgame often. So it's okay. There might be an argument as to what White gained with his brief invasion on b5, and now he's a pawn down, and he's probably going to get the pawn back. There's no safe way to hold on to the pawn, but in the meantime, black can get the bishop pair, um, or hold on to his pawn. So Jacob has managed to steal something, and now it doesn't seem as if Jeremy has any compensation for the pawn.
he has a bit of central control, which is a little bit of compensation.
Yeah, I guess I'll give you that. That's true. Um, I wonder if okay, no, it's probably not working. I was looking at c3 immediately, but yeah, this just seems keep things in true. And yeah, there is
And
some compensation here because you can't. It's hard to defend the b pawn if at all possible. I guess you could play something really sad looking like rook a7, but I think it's also important. If it works, regardless of how ugly it looks. And so let's see if Jacob's able to maintain his situation, his situation there. So yeah, White definitely has some compensation now, just with Black's pieces being less well coordinated. But it's not clear how White makes progress. And then he comes up with that nice looking d5 move, which is opening up the position some for his bishop pair. And I guess that's important compensation. Wow. Now it seems like it's all falling apart for for Jacob. Because if wait a second, he has to come back to a7 again. Okay, there's that. So that's a good intermezzo. And now the rook doesn't have to die. Okay, because otherwise it seems as if the rook was going to have to give itself up. Knight c5 is played, which seems slightly careless. I'm wondering if this is better. Um, and then just having it's bishop move up with the colors, but that a pawn can be very troublesome for black. And if he plays rook here, then I suppose he could play here, here, and here, and maintain an extra pawn, his extra pawn.
Yeah.
Which which is actually kind of funny because um, Jacob came out of the opening with the extra pawn, and all of a sudden things turned around there. So let's see how this goes. So knight c5. And now Jacob looks like he's back in the game. Hmm. Wait a second. So he probably can't argue with necessity there. Something had to give.
Uh,
Yeah.
could you have just played knight takes c3, or am I missing something obvious?
So right here, yes,
Yeah.
I think knight c3 might be working. Uh,
Looks like your best choice by far. I'm not saying white's gonna win this. I'm just saying you want to stop black's pass c pawn by taking
yeah,
it.
I think this might actually equalize, right? So then how
Yeah,
is
that's
black responding? Here, 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 and under normal circumstances, this should probably be drawn. So knight c3 is a good find. Yeah, this seems like it's dangerous for white, leaving that pawn on the board. But okay, Jeremy's playing very
this. Yeah, this looks also scary though for black. Maybe this is better.
well,
Sorry for yeah, for black.
he can play bishop a3 now, and then rook a5 next.
Yeah,
It
maybe
looks like,
even bishop
or bishop
c.
c1.
Yeah, kind of to block out the rook.
Yeah, bishop c1 and then rook a5, and that pawn may not be the pawn on a6 may not be around long.
I have a feeling we're going to get a drosh position anyways.
Yeah, it seems if it might be difficult to break that blockade. But on the other hand, if he can create a situation where he can get his rook more active, maybe bring the king out, move the king side pawns forward, um, get the rook over to the king side, and support creating a pass pawn on the h file or something. Some sort of diversion where the rook is outplaying the knight. might be a thing. Then again, White could play his rook away, bring his king down to d1, and use that as a blockader. Um, it's all interesting. Yeah, now the pawn's gone. So we are now in a drawish type position, but not drawn. I think either player has the right to make a mistake here. Um,
Always.
so we'll come back to that one a bit later, and then let's see Srijan. Um, let's see if he's also putting pressure on Nate. So Nate, so in the first game, Nate was dealing with a King's Indian, and now we have the King's Indian's evil twin, the Grunfeld, and Nate's playing the Russian system with his 4 Queen B3, and I think this is played. I'm not sure. This Bishop G7 immediately. It seems it's played, but it's not that good. I think um, the normal move with this might be the way, and if I remember properly, think near the end, the tail end of his career, I think Kasparov was playing knight a6 at some moment. Maybe it was after 0-0, knight f3, and then maybe knight a6 and c5. I can't really remember the theory here, but it seems like playing bishop g7 means black might not be able to get that pawn back. Yeah.
It's reminding me a little bit of Horde.
Of which one?
Horde. Are you familiar with that variant?
Mm.
It's a variant where um, basically white starts with, I believe it's 36 pawns, and black starts with their normal setup. And I play it, but I only play it with hyperbolic time controls because I know no theory at all. So I just when I'm white, I steamroll my pawns forward and hope to overwhelm black. And when I'm black, the general strat is to open up either the A or H files and pick up all the pawns. But it's very interesting. But when white had that D4, D5, E4 structure, it kind of reminded me of that just massive wall of pawns.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's I guess it does resemble a horde of pawns. No, this is just very nice for white here. He doesn't have to do anything special. Um, he's got targets on a5 and c6. He has control of the center. Black's pieces aren't really coordinating well with each other. I guess he's trying to remedy that with this maneuver, but Nate's is saying that's okay. You can take my b pawn, but I'm going to get your c pawn, I suppose.
Yeah.
Or maybe he just missed it. What's the time situation? Ah, so he might have come back. So if you look at the time situation, so it's 32 minutes for Nate at this moment, and Srijan has an hour and 7 minutes. So Srijan, takes 10 minutes, plays bishop takes f3. Um, Nate, probably under pressure on the board against Tom, takes like 9 minutes to play this uh, routine recapture, and then knight c5 happens after 4 minutes. Nate comes back, and 16 minutes later, I think he just missed that the pawn on b2 was hanging. Is my guess. And so they're material even now.
But now we have the horde set up again.
Yeah, we have the horde set up, and um, it's possible that Nate calculated this because um, this guy has no way home.
Yeah, pretty sad pieces. I would probably be trying to play f6 if I was black. Well, but then you blunder g4. So yeah,
Yeah,
you're
I
kind of
think
stuck.
after maybe he did see all this because after this, well, he doesn't have to do anything with the knight. I think right now he has to play. Um, how does the knight get out of there? Maybe f5. Then his position gets really ugly.
Yeah, or you have to be like really slow and play bishop h8 and knight g7. But
Yeah, yeah, that's another way of doing it, and hope that white doesn't play bishop takes h5. Although bishop e2 is also a problem. So maybe Srijan is just in really bad shape here. Because if you do this, he has this option if you want to play positionally, but he also has this option. And it's not clear.
actually, yeah, bishop takes h5 just wins. So we should be playing that. I guess they have to take on e3. If they take on h5, we just win. But yeah, they have to take on e3.
But now this guy is hanging, and he still hasn't recovered this guy.
Oh yeah, true. Man, yeah,
So, so, so maybe this might have actually been a very clever trap by Nate. The
maybe yeah.
C5 just this. Unreal. Nice find. Well, maybe Nate might let us know later. So let's see how the game continues.
That's how bad it got.
So, and all of a sudden, Nate's just crushing now. It's like not even close. So Nate's down to 25 seconds. He just made his move to avoid losing on time. So he has 56 seconds left. And let's see. His game on Tom is rages on. So let's go. Let's go. Take.
He's
Yep.
completely winning. Srijan's completely lost, but he's just praying that Thomas can so complicate their game that Nate just
Yes.
flags.
Yep. So it seems as if Connor managed to get the job done against Kyler. Wait a second. Was this the game where they
Yeah, that
thought
was the GGT board
the BG?
error.
Right. Um, I seem to be stalling here. I might.
Yeah, it hasn't updated for me. It still shows the last move to be the bishop d8 error. So I don't know what happened here. I mean, the position looks drawish. Just black takes the rook. But we'd have to get word on the ground if how that game finished up. Let's see here.
All right. I had some issue with my connection, but
No worries.
So yeah, so maybe it is the case that Kyler just forgot to retake the knight, the rook, sorry, because it's saying 1-0.
But that
Um,
would be, there's no way.
yeah, that just seems very strange.
I think we'd have
Um,
to check the players for bribery or something.
yes, yes,
To
yes.
see if Connor's slipping Kyler some 20s after the game.
Yeah. So we left this game with Nate pondering his choices here. So he decides to capture, and then bishop f1, queen e5 to defend the d6 pawn, and knight g3. What's going on with that? Oh, um, I guess there's a small tactic at the end. Well, maybe not. Yes, there is a small tactic at the end in Nate's favor because of queen g6. So rook takes f3 happens, queen takes g6, king back, rook g1, and this position is double-edged, I guess is the best way to describe it. Um, yeah, Nate probably isn't unhappy because he has this coming up next, I think, and it's going to be difficult for Thomas to defend.
I wonder if we can just play something like, well, obviously, I want to play some move that defends our bishop on g7, so then we can just take on d5.
So, like maybe rook here, or
Yeah,
maybe maybe
probably.
so now queen
Yeah, I don't
d5
know
is
what's more
check.
powerful, to have it with check or to have the option of a discovery. I don't know.
Hmm.
But yeah,
Oh, yes.
we could try that, and then, I mean, how does he
I think
defend d5?
I think that was actually Tom's choice.
Oh,
I think it's the actual game move. Yeah.
well, it looks like rook g1 he played. King h8, rook g1. Oh no, that was Nate, and then
Yeah. So then rook g1, and then it looks like he played. Oh, let's go back to live moves. Let me do this. Yeah. So this is what was actually played in the game.
yeah. So how do you have to play rook d1?
Uh,
Because it's not just the threat of, okay, or just bring the queen back, because it's not just the threat of winning the pawn. It's if White just played a random move like a4, we have
mhm.
mate because it's queen takes d5, rook g2, and then rook f1, and we're gonna take advantage of the pin after knight takes f1, rook takes f1.
Yes. So yeah, we've got an exciting fight on our hands here. I mean, it was exciting before, but now with the time trouble for both players, it's even more dicey. It seems like Yuvi was able to technique his way to victory. So we left the position here after queen d4. And so, oh, that's interesting. I don't think it's maybe Jason didn't have a better choice here.
Oh, duh, yeah, I thought f3, but it's the pawn's pinned. So yeah, he didn't have a better choice. And rook e1, obviously, you get forked with d2. So yeah.
Huh. Okay. So yeah, so now this for a player of UV's strength, this is um maybe I should find something less violent, but it's shooting fish in a barrel type of position for him.
I've never heard that one before, but that's a good one. Just imagine my head, someone leaning over a barrel with a bunch of fish. Oh boy. Save the fish. Okay, save the fish. No.
No, they're too delicious. Um,
They are, they are.
well, let's see. We got let's see what's happening in Jacob's game versus Jeremy. And we left it around here. And so nominally, black is better. And I think it might be more than nominal, depending on how Jeremy plays here. And I think G4 is the right direction. In these sort of positions, you want to keep the enemy king away from your little ones. And this gets the job done. You also want to try and keep your rook as active as reasonable. And with G4, it means that black can't get H5 in to start working towards the passport or to prevent G4 himself, because he would like to get his king to G4 in a lot of these positions. So G4 was good. And yeah, it's not clear if either player is going to be able to make progress. Okay, Jacob has his has White's king stuck to the back rank, but there doesn't seem to be a good way for the king to for his king to come in. Maybe he needs to consider something like King G6 H5, and maybe bring the rook back to C4. Yeah, that might be a plan for Jacob. So yeah, this is not as good. So if he had gone once he has a king behind here, I think he should take the opportunity to play this. And now if he comes here, now I can go here and well, maybe it doesn't really make that much of a difference because White can play here. Oh, it does make a difference because White could go here, and if here, it's not clear how Black is making any progress. I guess maybe Black can try doing this, but then it allows this to happen. Do you have any idea? What are your ideas about this position right here, Michael?
Um, yeah, I would put probably my money on like 80% draw, and then okay, well, there we go. Um, Michael the Prophet. But yeah, I
Yes,
mean it's really hard for either side to break through, so I think a draw is a very fair result.
yes. All right. So that was a hard fought game. And ah, so Nate was able to salvage a draw here. Well, I don't know who was salvaging a draw. This position was really complicated. Okay, so they went into a repetition type thing. And
Oh,
so now, unfortunately, he has all the time. Well, if you consider 46 seconds all the time, but he has enough time to try and grind Srijan down.
ooh, yeah, and if he's not careful, there's a pretty sacrifice. But yeah, I bet Tom is I mean, I bet he's a little disappointed because he had such a nice position. He was just up a pawn, had a raging attack, so I
Yes,
bet he's a bit disappointed. But Nate's the heavyweight in the top section, so a draw against the oftentimes winner is not a bad result.
exactly. Let's go back a few moves to where we left the game, which I think was around here. So he wins another pawn. Oh yeah, this was around where he left. Because at some point, did he play rook b1? Or that was the other pair of rooks that got.
And just for
So
everyone's just for everyone's info, considering that this is the last Thursday of the month, we currently have Kyler leading the premier section with a perfect 3 of 3, and no one's even close. There's a three-way tie for second with 2 points, and that's Jordan, Connor, and Eddie. And Jordan won tonight, so he tied Kyler, but Kyler just needs the draw, and he had that game with Connor, who's also on two. But so it looks like Kyler's gonna take home first place this month.
Well, it's listed as Connor won against Kyler.
Yeah, but that can't be right.
Yeah, that seems. I don't know if anybody on site can fill us in.
I mean,
Um,
and part of I mean, there's like a probably one in 500,
yes.
one in 250 chance that Kyler just completely didn't take back the rook. Like that's very, very rare. Um, but what also makes it kind of convinces for me that it's a GGT board error is that it showed he took 22 minutes to play Bishop D8. So I'm sure it's just a GGT board error.
Yeah, so it probably was a draw. So actually, this position, this is one of the downsides of leaving yourself so little time. So he plays knight c3, and Srijan plays queen b2. And as a flash, I just saw rook b1. I was wondering if there's any defense to that, and I don't think there is. Just losing a rook. Or okay, maybe queen and rook for queen for rook and knight, right? Or am I missing something?
No, you're not. Yeah, that's just very nice.
But and something that Nate would normally see easily if he had more than a minute left, I would think. So instead, he plays rook c2 and then goes for this maneuver, which is kind of clunky. But okay, I don't think the result in this game is really the only thing that puts the result of this game in doubt is Nate's time situation. He's already threatening like queen g6 check, among other things. So yeah, I not having high hopes for Srijan, unfortunately, because he wanted to see an upset. Um, and whichever way it can be done within the rules, but I suppose it's not going to happen tonight. And that's our final game, actually. So we could focus on this. Unless was there of the games tonight, which do you think would get your nod for your game of the week?
Yeah, that's a good question. Let me kind of look through them here. I think I think maybe the UV game. You played a fairly smooth game against Jason.
Yeah, that's my choice. I think I like that one um, for the smoothness. Uh, the trying from the contours of Jordan's game from an entertainment standpoint, I guess, because that was so back and forth, and allowed us to uh, pretend we too could defend like a computer. Um, that game had its points, but yeah, I think overall UV's game seemed the most complete and clean. Maybe clean isn't maybe the right word, but I'll just go over it again. And yeah, so I think he took advantage of, as I said, this just had the look and feel of a weaker um, Toulouse Geller Gambit. This one, but it was instructive in my mind how UV unraveled his position. Yeah, I think I'd still just a style point. I'd probably still play, well, at least consider C takes D. Although now that I look at it, maybe he also didn't want to have to waste time after this trying to control this file, because now the rook has to go back. And if this pawn were here instead, as happened in the game, then you don't have to worry about any invasions by white on the C file. So okay, so maybe that made some sense. And yeah, I would probably just play G6, but this piece sacrifice was rather enterprising and turned out to be good enough to win. And so combining um, combining his strategic goals with a good grasp of the tactics right here um, ensured the victory. And even here, it's just probably getting the king in and uh, a nice point. Just he could have taken the rook immediately, but in this way, he's able to um, improve his rook's position while having white worsen his king position before taking the rook. So that was a nice point, and not just for flash. I think there was function to it. So let's take a look at. It seems as if Nathan got the job done here. Um, did Srijan resign here? It looks
Yeah, it
like.
looks like it.
Okay, so resign here. All right, so all the games are done. And so um, barring any changes based on VAR of the feed, if we can assume that Kyler drew, so Kyler won the month.
Yes, I. If we assume that he drew, he won the month. Yes.
Okay, so congratulations to Kyler, who seems to be making a very confident push back to 2200 if he's not already there. He's had some good results um, over the summer and into the fall. I think was he one of the top group at the Gopher? I think.
Yes, I believe so. I believe he won some money at the Gopher. I think he tied for first with
Oh,
4 points, I want to say.
yes, yes,
And
remember that now.
and he also, I mean, this is going back a bit, but he also did well this summer at the Chicago Open. He won some money. So yeah, he's definitely marching his way back to master, which is good to see.
Yes,
Um, but yeah, 3.5 out of 4 in the premier section is definitely quite good.
yeah, nothing to sneeze at for sure.
No, and he beat on his way there. He beat you no, I'm looking at the wrong person. He beat Norm Myron. He beat Eddie. He beat Jordan. And then now we're assuming he drew Connor. So very nice result. It looks like in the open section we had Nate Hoover, who's definitely the definitely the favorite by looks like 400 points over everyone. But he finished 4 out of 4, it would appear.
Okay. I mean, considering he's playing simul's every round, it is somewhat of a decent result, right?
Yes. No,
because he also is he
it's
also doing TD duties during the tournament?
I would assume so. Yeah. I think it's kind of all on his plate.
Mm-hmm. So okay, I mean, I give him I'm giving him grief, right? But it's no mean feat to go 4-0 while you're doing all these other things during the game. So
Yeah, I think everyone probably likes it. It helps his chess. He doesn't seem to mind. I mean, it causes him to have good time management skills, kind of functioning, playing 2 games at once, which for many players, including myself, it's something that you struggle with, which is proper time management. it's not easy at times to appropriate your time usage, but um, yeah. So I mean not Connor, Nate wins the Open and Kyler wins the Premier. So that's good to see.
Congratulations to the winners, and yeah. So I guess as you said, there's going to be a tournament at the castle this weekend. The Turtle Tornado, and
Yes,
then
triple tornado.
folks will bring their game to the Roseville Skating Center, which is also one of my favorite places to play. Especially, I have good memories from the many years that the the Twin Cities Chess League was played there, and then the
Yes.
Winter Open is also played there, and I seem to get decent results there. So maybe there's more than one reason why it's one of my favorite places to play. Um,
Yes.
so, all right. Any other words? Any other announcements or anything?
I don't believe so. The last thing, maybe just one more thing. It's the stream is always sponsored by Chess Goals, and that's headed up by Matt Jensen, who was actually in chat at the beginning of the stream, which was good
Oh,
to see. So thank you, Matt. You can use the coupon code CASTLE to save 30% on any purchases at chessgoals.com. And they're just simple chess courses for non-grandmasters. So make sure to check that out and take advantage of that coupon. But good to see everyone in chat tonight. We had Jordan, we had Chris, of course, we had Eddie, we had Matt, and yeah, good to see everyone in chat. And
oh,
congratulations once again to Nate and
Tyler.
Tyler. Thank you. Name was escaping me. And we'll see everyone next week for October edition.
All right. See ya.